Hello everybody, my name is Meisterbloo, and this past week I took a read at the first omnibus of Kanokon, which, as you may know, is a show that I kind of particularly enjoy. It's bizarre because I saw this one at Barnes & Noble, and it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that Barnes & Noble would typically stock, especially in the manga section. They seem to be a little more tame when it comes to what they're putting on their shelves in that particular part of the store. This omnibus contains volumes 1 and 2 of the official manga series, which was first published by Seven Seas Entertainment and Media Factory in 2007. With the story being written by Katsume Nishino and the art being done by Rin Yamaki. To talk about the art style, it starts off a little wonky, kind of the same way that if you've read the Soul Eater manga, that one's if you go from the anime to the show for to the manga for Soul Eater, you will notice a severe, I don't want to say drop in quality of the character styles and everything, just a massive change. In the manga, they seemed more squishy, more their face could move like more and everything, which seemed a little bit weird, but then again I did come to that from the anime, so that I was used to their faces being more smooth, their movements being more smooth, and them not looking so wonky. And while the characters in this can seem to be a little awkward in the first few pages of the manga, it's actually surprising how quickly they fix that and make it like a consistent style throughout it. And honestly, that's a pretty normal thing for most manga that I've read. It starts off a little rugged, but they quickly adjust, find their style, and they go with it. The majority of the panels in this particular manga, I think, are really well done because they almost always have a background going on. And if you don't know what I mean by that, I mean like how you would read a manga and say two people are talking for 10 or so pages, and literally all it's drawn is really their faces, and then occasionally like a tree or something behind them. This one contains a lot of background in the panels, and I like that because it makes it feel like the world is more fleshed out and more real. It makes it seem like it's not just these two people in an emptiness talking to each other, which I personally really like. There are, of course, some without backgrounds, but not enough to make it stand out too much. The side characters are actually really, really well drawn in this manga. They look really cool, especially Taira, who is Chizuru, the fox girl featured on the cover, her younger brother. He is drawn like an utter badass, and in the anime, he was just comic relief, and he's sometimes comic relief in here, but he's a really cool character in this. But they drew him so much cooler because when you see him in the anime, and you match up his face with his voice and everything, it's obvious that he's going to be comic relief. In this, if you went into this not knowing who he was, he'd probably seem like a really cool badass, like major villain or something at the very beginning. And finally, if you guys have seen my top 5 anime that I'll watch but never recommend, then you will know this is a huge thing for me. Kota looks like his age. He is supposed to be a young first-year high schooler, but in the anime, his design and his voice combined made him seem like he was 7 or 8 years old, and that's creepy because this is a very, very dirty fox girl. So it made me very uncomfortable at that particular thing watching the anime, and that takes a lot because I love Mysterious Girlfriend X. But yes, he looks like his age in the manga, and I even mentioned that for a tiny bit in that video that I did. He looks his age, and that's a really big thing, because that takes away that awkwardness whenever she's trying to pounce on him. As for the plot, I'm not going to focus too much on just the major differences between the anime and the manga, because I understand that adaptation as an art form requires change. You can't just simply copy and paste something from one media to another and expect it to be 100% accurate, because why would you do that? Why would you adapt it in the first place if you wanted it to be 100% accurate? If there are any major changes, then I will talk about them, but I'm not going to criticize them because, again, it's adaptation. The plot centers around Oyamada Kota, who is a first year moving from the countryside to the big city and starting high school, and he quickly becomes the target of Minamoto Chizuru's affection, and one thing leads to the next. She invites him to the class after school and everything, and he finds out that she is actually a fox spirit who is 400 years old. She confesses her love to him and kisses him, which makes her fox ears pop out, her fox tail pop out, and her hair turn into a shade of blonde. And from that point on, the plot is just completely focused on all the shenanigans that could happen from dating a yokai, which is the term for a spirit or a ghost or a phantom in this particular universe, and all the crazy things that can happen from dating one of them. He meets other yokai, he has to deal with his human classmates as well as some of the school faculty. But where the style of the anime made it seem more like a softcore hentai, the style of the manga is actually treating the plot as more of a romantic comedy than it is anything else. Yes, you will see some nudity, though no finer details or anything, just simple outlines of the characters and some upskirt shots and everything, but nothing too major. But as of volumes 1 and 2 of this, the ecchi takes a real back seat to the plot, which honestly I was not expecting when I first picked it up. And a really cool facet that this manga touches into that never really got, like, explained that much in the anime, at least not from what I can remember, it's been a little while since I watched it, is the possession feature. Whenever Chizuru kisses Kota and he accepts her into his heart and everything, she has the ability to possess him, which means her spirit will go into his body, he will sprout ears and a tail, and he will be able to do some awesome things. In the anime, it was always sort of they kiss and poof, she's gone, her clothes are on the floor, he has ears and a tail and can Kamehameha and everything. But in the manga, they do a really good job at showing just what it is, and it's a possession, and like, yeah, the same thing will happen, she'll be gone, her clothes are on the floor, and he has ears and a tail, but when she comes back out, she's like literally like hopping out of him, as if very similar to Shaman King, which in the very first parts of Shaman King, if you don't know, Yo Asakura, the main character, to fight off enemies would have a ghost team up with him, and he would turn the ghost into a little spirit ball and put the ghost inside of him so that the ghost can use his body to attack and everything. It's very, very similar to that, and that's a really cool thing that they showed in the manga that wasn't really ever featured too much in the anime. All in all, I can say that the Kanokon manga is a recommended read. It, of course, has some more mature things in it. It is, I think, rated older teen, which is like 16 plus, so I don't know how strict Barnes & Noble is on the book buying and everything, but yes, it's definitely a kind of like read before you buy it kind of situation. Take a good look at the manga, like maybe online you can find it somewhere. I'm not going to recommend any places because I don't know, I never read the manga online. Whenever I read a manga, it means I have a physical copy of it, and that's just because it does have those kind of things in it. It does have some nudity, it does have some very vulgar scenes in it, and I don't want to be in charge of you getting in trouble because you bought it on a recommendation of me, so definitely read it before you buy it. This is being sold in an Omnibus series that has 2 volumes per book for the price range of about $20 United States or $22 Canadian. And honestly, it feels like it was really worth it to get two volumes of a very goofy supernatural romance manga. But that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is my first manga review. It's really, really different than doing an anime one, and I hope that I'm doing alright. If I'm not, then yell at me in the comments section, and I'll be sure to make some more. Also, any thoughts you guys have on this manga, or any mangas, recommend me some manga. I love to read manga, so if you have any of those, leave them in the comments, or go find me on Tumblr or Twitter and just message me saying, hey, I got a manga recommendation for you. I will likely go check it out. So yeah, until next time, everybody, peace out.